Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This video is the third video about sincerity and the importance of sincerity, ikhlas. We're going to see in this hadith, as you see on the screen, عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إن أول الناس يقضى يوم القيامة عليه رجل استشهد فأتي به فعرفه نعمه فعرفها. What does that mean? On the authority of Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, who said, I heard the Messenger of Allah say, the first of people against whom judgment will be pronounced on the day of resurrection will be a man who died as a martyr. He will be brought and Allah will make known to him his favors and he will recognize them. Okay, that's what it means up to here. فعرفها. قال فما فعلت به. Allah will ask him, what did you do with those favors I gave you? I gave you sight, I gave you hearing, I gave you health. What did you do with those favors? The Almighty will say, what did you do about them, about those favors? He will say, I fought for you until I died as a martyr. He will say, you have lied. Allah will say to that martyr who said that I died in the cause of you, Allah will tell him, you have lied. You did but fight that it might be said of you, he is a courageous. Jari. Courageous means jari in Arabic. And so it was said. Then he will be ordered to drag along on his face until he cast into hellfire. Why is that? Because he didn't have sincerity. So that shows how much sincerity is a must. You do something, you do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In ibadat, in muamalat, when you give charity, when you seek knowledge, all of that should be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين. So I think the hadith is so clear. We don't even have to go further than that, but we'll read it anyway. And so it was said, then he will be ordered to be dragged along on the face until he is cast in hellfire. Allah will bring another man. Will be a man who studied religion, knowledge. Okay, knowledge. And this is for the student of knowledge to acknowledge and to focus on. Who has studied religion and knowledge and has taught it, who used to recite the Quran. He will be brought and Allah will make known to him his favors and he will recognize them. The Almighty say, what? Okay, Almighty says, what? Oh yeah. The Almighty will say, and what did you do about them, about those favors? He will say, I studied religion, knowledge, and I taught it, and I recited the Quran for you, for your sake. Allah will say, He will say, you have light. Allah will tell him, you have light. Because Allah knows what's in our heart. And only Allah knows what's in our heart, subhanahu wa ta'ala. You did but study religious knowledge that it might be said of you, he is learned, and you are recited the Quran that it might be said of you, he is a reciter. Then he will be ordered to drag along on his face until he is cast into hellfire. It will be a man whom Allah had favors, and he will recognize them. Almighty will say, what did you do with them? He will say, I left none path untrodden in which you like money to be spent without spending it for the sake of you. That's a man that Allah gave so much money. He will say, I spend money in the case of the sake of Allah. Then Allah will say, you lied. You have spent money to say he's a generous man. Okay. You have lied. You did but do so. It might be said of you, he is open-handed or generous man. And so it was said. Then he will be ordered to be dragged along on his face until he cast into hellfire. So this hadith shows us how crucial is sincerity when it comes to ibadat, mu'amalat. To be sincere. You're doing this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you wish Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enter you into paradise and not to enter you into hellfire. This is why you seek knowledge. This is why you do an ibadat. Submission. This is submission. You have to submit inward and outward. Submission should be inward and outward. The heart should be submitted. The heart should be submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with love, with loving Allah, with fearing Allah, with asking Allah. The submission of the heart. And have no envy in your heart, or have no diseases of the heart like arrogance. We need to clean our heart from those diseases in order to submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is called af'al al-qulub, the action of the hearts. Inshallah, we will have some lessons in the future about that. The action of the hearts. How to love Allah. How to fear Allah. How to enjoy and taste Iman when your heart is submitted to Allah. This is the best sweetness you're gonna taste in this life. is when your heart is submit to Allah. You're doing what you're doing only because you love Allah. You're doing what you're doing only because you fear Allah. And this is where a lot of people have went astray, even among the scholars. Some scholars, they have a agenda, and they cover their agenda with Islam. Allah won't accept that. You're doing what you're doing in Islam only because you love Allah. You fear Allah and you wish for His paradise, and you wish He avoid you from entering hellfire. Allahumma ameen. Jazakum Allahu khairan. Actually, I don't feel good today. That's why my voice is kind of low. Forgive me. Jazakum Allahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah.